Hello. Well, I've had a right run around for the last 2 days. I've been trying to get all this electronics back into the boat and working, and for the last 2 days I've had an intermittent fault on the board, on the main micromite board, which causes it to not work. I don't know if you can see this. It's just looping. That's the startup message the Micromite Basic produces at the start. It should just produce a go-ahead sign, instead of which it keeps looping. And I discovered that this board is touch sensitive. Sometimes when I power it up, it doesn't start at all, and I have to bash it a bit to get it to work. But at the moment, to get this thing to work, I just have to lift it up a bit. Now it is now it is working. I just hold it up a bit. And you can see it's almost working. There, it's working. It's gone back into its loop. Now, you'd have thought, with a solid fault like that, that I could find out what the hell is going wrong, but I can't. There's nothing. I've looked all over the bottom of this board with a ×10 magnifier, looking for shorts and open circuits and hairline cracks and dry joints, and I can't see any. So this is really beginning to bug me. Well, I decided to have a look at it with my very old 60 megahertz Hitachi oscilloscope, which has the advantage of being a real cathode ray tube. I do have a digital scope, but I think that possibly I might see any spikes on this more clearly. That's pin 1, which is the reset line, which should be at +3, which it is at. And there's no sign of any spikes going down to 0 on that. 0 being down there. This is interesting. This is pin 24, which is the analog 3-volt power in line. And you can see it's got quite a large amount, almost 1.5 volts of noise on it. That shouldn't be there. I'm not sure why it affects the digital side of the Micromite, but we've got to find where that's coming from, or whether that's the cause, or whether it's just a symptom of something else fluctuating elsewhere. I wouldn't like to say. Well, that's pin 28, the analog power, with that thing on it. And then if we just move along to where that power is supposed to be coming from, this black and red line there, that noise is not there. So I'm thinking that there is a dry joint between here and here. You see that? Between there and there. I think there's a dry joint. I hope there's a dry joint, because I'm fed up with this. Well, there's a dry joint somewhere in there, I think. Getting this thing to autofocus on this PC board in close-up is impossible. How I wish cameras just had a focusing ring that I could adjust. Well, this is pin 28. I think it's that thing in there. See if we can get this off. Of course, I've got this conformal coating on here, which is supposed to waterproof it, etc. Stop it corroding, which it also stops me from soldering it that easily, which is a bit of a nuisance. Wow, looks absolutely horrid. Right, well, I've re-tinned that wire, cleaned up this board, removed the conformal coating. I'll see if I can solder this. Ah, you little rat. Do that. See if I can solder this now. It's incredible. It just fell out. It did fall out. I'm a little bit fed up with this, you know. I'm just a little bit fed up with this thing. I'm going to have this whole wire out then. If you want to be a nuisance, you can bloody well come out. You bastard. Of course, it would be under all this. This wire is coming out because it's driving me nuts. Right. That wire is a bugger. That'll teach you. Right, I've replaced that wire with a different one. I haven't got one the same colour, with a brown wire. And we'll see if we can solder this. Well, it looks better. Let's hope that's all right. Well, I think it might be working okay now. It's hard to tell, but it was failing on flexing the board last time. I think that's all right. It's still working. Still working as it should do now. Right, well, this is the acid test. See if I've put it all back in its box, which is usually the fatal thing to do. Usually works perfectly until I put it back in the box, and then it invents some reason for not working. Right. So it's testing the rudder now, left. That's port. To you nautical types. Starboard. Centre. Right. Well, that seems to be working. We've got all the equipment on the mast, the anemometer and the LoRa transmitter, which is transmitting all the way across the room to my receiver there, and we're getting good data coming across even when I tap the circuit board or flex it. So I'm just hopeful that everything is now working. So here is the telemetry visualization, and this cyan line indicates the direction from which the wind is blowing relative to the boat. So at the moment we've got the wind vane pointing straight ahead, that if I were to move it round a bit, say to there, then hopefully the telemetry will notice this eventually. Yeah, there it goes. And all the other functions are working. Roll. Can't roll it too far because the rudder's in the way. Pitch up, or pitch down, that is. And the compass is working, because if I put my magnetic screwdriver near it, I can move it around. We have a wind speed measurement here, which is 0 because the thing isn't turning, but if I were to turn it, hopefully it will eventually show something. Yes, 2.5 mph there. Right. So I reckon we're ready for the next test.